Hey, Ismael, how are you?
Hey Karen.
Good. How are you doing?
Hey,
You were
good
saved
evening.
the
How you doing?
messenger.
Yeah,
Ismael is good.
that's
Perfect.
Ismail is good.
Can you hear me? Well,
Hey,
obviously you can hear me. You're answering me. I was
yeah. Well, when I signed up, when I was watching the video,
okay.
I couldn't
Yeah.
hear you, but now I
Excellent.
did.
Yeah,
So that's good.
this little mic, you know how it is. We always have our glitches and I was getting a little, yeah, flustered. Yeah. So happy
It's all
Wednesday.
good. I'm letting
Yeah. Yeah.
people sign in. Happy Wednesday. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's let a few people
Absolutely. I
come
think
in.
the topic we have today is triggering. Can we use that word? I
Yeah,
think
definitely.
definitely a little triggering. Oh, look, from the Philippines. Someone from the Philippines is on. Yeah.
Wow,
Where
wonder.
is
Yeah,
everyone
where's
from?
everybody
Let us
from?
know.
Let us
Let's
know
do
in the
a roll call
comments.
here before we get into this really good topic of cheating. Just the word alone. Someone says hello. Okay, but where are you guys from? Let's do a roll call. Let's see.
Let's get some of
Yeah.
the comments.
Okay. The Netherlands.
The
New
Netherlands,
York.
New York
Yeah.
City. There you
Cambodia.
go. Indonesia.
Indonesia.
Wow.
Wow.
Brooklyn.
Miami's
Well, we got somebody
in the
from Miami
house.
in the house.
Yeah.
There you go.
Miami's in the house, which is good. That's amazing. Oh, Florida.
Florida.
Okay. New York City. Hi from Miami. I
Awesome.
love our Miami people are here. Oh, hi from India. How blessed are we, and how does that even make you feel that we have people from Netherlands and India and Cambodia and the Philippines? I mean, Brazil.
Brazil.
You know, South. What was that?
I know.
San Francisco, I think. Yeah, San Francisco, New Jersey. Yeah. What time is it there? It is
Awesome.
8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah.
8:30 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
nighttime over
We're
here.
it's
Wow.
Nina is asking. What time is it, Nina, for you over there? Oh, Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Orlando. Oh, we got a lot of
Yeah.
people from
I
Florida.
think
That's
that's good
interesting.
because we're both from Florida. Yeah, which is good. All right, should
Okay.
we get started?
Awesome. So, yeah, let's get started. We're gonna talk, everybody, and if you have a
Yeah.
question, um, just let us know. Drop a comment, or I think you can also
Yes.
click the question
Mm-hmm.
symbol on the bottom
Yes.
and then ask us a question. So, cheating,
Okay. Hey,
um,
let's start.
I'll start if you want. I'll say, when it comes to cheating, um, I mean, I want to start
Yes.
by saying what is
Yes.
cheating, right? Because everybody has a different
Mm-hmm.
perspective on cheating, I would say. And I think, cheating overall is considered when
Mm-hmm.
somebody breaks a vow or an
Yeah.
understanding, a promise that you made to your
Yeah.
partner, let's say to be
Mm-hmm.
exclusive with them. And now, you betray
Yes.
that trust. Let's say you were unfaithful. Now, when you're
Mm-hmm.
starting to date somebody,
Mm-hmm.
or when you've been, even sometimes people that have been dating for a long time, people have
Yeah.
different ideas about cheating, right? What do you consider cheating? That's why a lot of times I say, to
Mm-hmm.
women that come to me, they're starting to date, you need to be on the
Yes.
same page of what you consider cheating. Because, is it
Mm-hmm.
liking all the girls'
Mm-hmm.
pictures on Instagram? Is that cheating?
Yeah.
Because some men may
Yes.
not think that
Mm-hmm.
that's a big deal, you know? Um, Now, when you're talking to a man or you're talking to, so
Yes.
again, I'm going to talk from a
Yes.
male perspective because a lot of the people that I talk to is women. But when you're talking to a man, if you ask anybody,
Mm-hmm.
have you ever cheated in the past? Which I say always when you want to find out about somebody's
Okay.
future, it's good to know about their past. If you ask people,
Mm-hmm.
did you ever cheat? Are you a cheater? What do you
Yeah.
think the answer is going to be, right? So I think a lot of the times is more about getting to know what the other
Mm-hmm.
person believes,
Mm-hmm.
is the idea
Mm-hmm.
of cheating, what do they consider cheating, and see if that aligns with your idea
Yes.
and your beliefs,
Yeah. Someone's saying lying about a female. They consider that cheating.
Mm.
Maybe they can elaborate a little bit
Mm-hmm.
on that. I mean, are you talking about them lying about the friendship, lying about what could be going on between them? I think also there is, you know, I've
Mm-hmm.
had with clients trying to get back into dating and get over that hump of past traumas is what types
Mm-hmm.
of cheating? There's emotional cheating and there's physical cheating. I mean, there's
Mm-hmm.
really five types, but the two that really
Yeah.
happen mostly, because it could be financial cheating, but the two that in a relationship, it's mostly emotional and
Mm-hmm.
physical cheating. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think women, obviously, I think, women are more
Mhm.
driven to emotional cheating. That's why I say a lot of the times, I talk to friends of mine who are coaches and they
Yes.
deal with mental health for men. Like, I think cheating when it comes to men being cheated on by women, it's actually, and
Yeah.
I'm not saying this because I'm a man. I think it's more detrimental
Hmm.
to a man's mental health than when a man does it to a woman because like man, think about when man, let's say when
Yes.
a man catches his woman cheating, you know, most of the times, pretty 99% of the cases, I would say the first thing a man would say
Yeah.
is, "Did you sleep with her?" That would be like for him, that
Hmm.
physical connection with
Yeah.
another man is what he's gonna focus on. When it comes to a woman, I think a lot of the times she's focused more on like, are you in love with her, more than like, did
Absolutely.
you sleep with her, right? Because I think
Yeah.
a lot of the times they focus on that emotion, right? So, and what happens with cheating is, what I've seen in the research. There's actually a
Okay.
guy, I forgot his name right now, but he has a big podcast and he researches, all he does is
Okay.
researching infidelity, cheating and
Yes.
long-term healthy relationships. And what he says is that, most men, when they cheat, is because they're looking for
Yeah.
sexual
Hmm.
variety, right? They just want something new, you know, a new experience with a different woman. It's not that they're looking so much to connect
Yes.
and have a new relationship with this woman. On the other hand, when women cheat, it's usually because they want to switch partners. Either they were
Hmm.
unhappy with the previous relationship, or they found somebody that they consider has more value.
Hmm.
Like hypergamy, it's called. When a woman
Yes.
steps up, let's say. Um, so that's what I think.
Hmm.
It works differently for both sexes, and I think when it comes to men, a lot of the
Hmm.
times they're more affected because of this. Because, and
Yeah.
I put the I like analogies. I always put like, for men is more like
Yeah.
they see a new dessert
Yes.
and they're like, oh, I
Hmm.
want that dessert, right? And for women it's more like, I
Yes.
want to change my
Yes.
diet.
You hit it right there. Perfect.
you
Yeah.
know and that's what I've seen and what I've read,
Hmm.
and I've experienced it myself, obviously. So it comes from personal experience as well, that it can be very detrimental for men and obviously for women as well. But I'm saying, giving
Yeah.
a mental
Yep.
health perspective when it comes to men, which a lot of people ignore because
Yeah.
usually the men are the cheaters. So
Hmm.
men that get cheated on, I feel that they
Okay.
don't get as much
Hmm.
attention, let's say, when it comes to
Okay.
helping them with mental health.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just wanted to bring that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. Absolutely. I think for women, they tend to the higher percentage cheat on the emotional level, and the men is the physical.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we can get into a whole thing about why.
Yep.
That's a completely different live, but I think it just comes down to it of how we function inside as men and women. So someone says here, which one do
Let
you
me
want to
see.
answer? There's two really good questions here.
Actually, everybody, if you have a question,
Yes.
it's better to click the question symbol because sometimes it's hard to read
Yes.
the messages because they're going up really fast. So you can drop a question on the
Yeah.
little question icon on the bottom. But somebody said, let me go out for a second. Does it get better? Can you really forgive after a traumatic situation? Okay, well, look, I have
Hmm.
I have many young women in my coaching group that they
Mm-hmm.
say, I will never tolerate cheating. If I ever get cheated
Mm-hmm.
on, it's done. And that's very simple to
Yeah.
say when you're 25, you're young, you don't have a
Yeah.
family, right? I think once you've been married for
Mm-hmm.
25 years, you got 3 kids, the whole
Absolutely.
picture
Agree with you.
changes. And, you have to be, it's hard to, and I always teach like, how to identify the man that is most likely to
Mm-hmm.
be loyal and those things. But you have to be,
Mm-hmm.
you have to know for yourself what will
Mm-hmm.
happen if you get
Yeah.
cheated on, you know? What would you decide to do? You have to know
Mm-hmm.
that answer and be
Yeah.
prepared for it. Hopefully it won't happen, but know in your relationship, whatever it, and it can
Mm-hmm.
be the healthiest relationship that you have to know how would you confront the situation, right? Some people believe that
Yeah.
once you cheat, it's done, it's over. I've seen couples, I'll give you an experience, some
Mm-hmm.
experiences that I've seen in my own family, people close to me. I've seen women that tolerated cheating and
Mm-hmm.
stay with their husbands, married, and are still raising
Uh-huh.
their families with the husband, and all
Mm-hmm.
the ones that didn't tolerate cheating ended up being single moms
Yes.
raising the child by themselves. So it's a difficult decision, because at the same time, you don't want to be there in an unhealthy relationship, tolerating all that stuff, and which can really
Oh,
wreck completely your
absolutely.
self-esteem and
Mm-hmm.
mental health. But in the two cases that I've seen, what has worked is the
Mm-hmm.
person that is getting cheated on completely turns a
Mm-hmm.
blind eye and
Yep.
ignores everything, doesn't pay attention to that, as long as she
Mm-hmm.
knows that she's the best option for
Yeah.
this woman, for this man,
Mm-hmm.
and he would always come home. That's one option. The other option is that the man, and
Of
again, I'm
course.
talking from a male perspective, the
Mm-hmm.
man came forward
Yes.
and revealed that he cheated, and he
Yeah.
corrected his behavior and he never did
Yeah.
it again, let's say. But those are the
Mm-hmm.
only two successful
Yeah.
scenarios that I've seen that has worked. Either they turn a blind eye or the man
Mm-hmm.
comes forward
Yeah.
himself. It's not that you catch him, doing it. He actually admits his
Yes.
mistake
Yeah.
and he tries to work
Absolutely.
on it.
Um, I do agree with you. I want to also ask you, do you think, and I think it's more, especially, and I'm not trying to say this is everyone, but, both of us come from a Latino background. That's kind of like the old school, the mom's
Mm-hmm.
era of turning a blind eye, and kind of like sometimes either, our generations is either we're going to do what our mothers did, or we're going to absolutely, heck no, this is not happening, and turn the other way. Um,
Yeah.
and so, but I want to ask, do you think that that can be like, that you can get back to that healthy relationship after cheating? I mean, my
Um,
experience, no.
I've seen it.
I was out the door.
I've
Yeah.
seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it that it has worked. Now,
Mm-hmm.
it took a lot of time. I'm talking like,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
decade, like a
Yeah.
decade. And and it took a lot of
Mm-hmm.
time. It took a lot of work, but you also you have to understand when the man
Mm-hmm.
doesn't, let's say when the cheater doesn't want to leave the relationship. This is different when the cheater cheats and he wants to, or she wants to leave the relationship. That's a different scenario when you see they cheated and they don't want to leave, they
Yeah.
want to stay with you, right? So going back to a healthy relationship, it is possible.
Yeah.
The
Very much
odds are
so.
against you,
Yeah.
to be honest, and it will take a lot of work from both
Yeah.
partners in the relationship. It's
Yeah.
not that one person really wants it and the other person, doesn't want to put the work. Now, if you feel this is something
Okay.
that women struggle
Mm-hmm.
with to understand. And I get a lot of, sometimes I get a lot of
Uh-huh.
heated arguments with women in my family about this. But
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to men, like men can have a sexual interaction with a woman that they don't
Absolutely.
even care about that much, that they're not even that
Yes.
attracted for, and um, and that a lot of women, it's like they don't want to, because again they think about the emotional cheating, right? When with a man, it's more like the fact that a woman
Mm-hmm.
gave herself to this man. They feel like I said, they know that for a woman to sleep with another man, there's kind of
Yes.
be some kind
Yes.
of like connection with that
Usually.
man.
Mhm.
Usually, I've
Yeah, yeah. There,
I've
there
met
is, there
women.
are, there are those percentages.
I've been
Absolutely.
surprised. Yes, I've been
Hmm.
surprised by some women in my life in the past, but usually she's got to have some type of connection with this man. She's got to have some sort of like emotional connection, some sort of like really attraction from him. Like, man can sleep with a woman that
Uh-huh.
they just liked them okay, and they just felt like they were just
Yeah.
horny at that moment. They were kind of tipsy and they drank or whatever, and next
Yeah.
morning they feel the regret
And
and
it's,
all
she
that
didn't
stuff.
mean anything to me.
So that's a
Hmm.
yeah, and you're the best,
Yes.
you're the one I love or whatever. So uh, now I made a video, I think about a
Uh-huh.
month ago, when I was talking about
Mhm.
loyalty, right? How to identify the loyal
Yeah.
man. What are the qualities of a loyal man? And I said, loyalty has to do with self-image
Yeah.
and the self-identity of a man, right? Like a man is not going to
Yeah.
cheat on you because he
Yes.
thinks that you're the
Hmm.
best woman he's ever met or he's in love with you. A man is not going to cheat because he sees himself as
Yes.
someone who doesn't cheat, right? He's got to have
Hmm.
very strong beliefs about cheating. And
Hmm.
I speak for myself because I'm 30,
Hmm.
I'm 33. I've never cheated, and I don't say
Yeah.
this to like pat myself in the shoulder. It's just
Yeah.
that I have very strong beliefs
Hmm.
about cheating, and that's how I identify. It's very easy, and
Uh-huh.
I've been tempted. I've been tempted many times, but in relationships that I've been, and I can tell you the times, every time
Hmm.
that I stopped myself from doing it, is because I said I'm not a cheater,
Yeah.
so I'm not going to cheat, right? And it's gotta
Hmm.
have that core in his identity where he sees that he's not somebody who does that.
Hmm.
And I think once you make that
Hmm.
decision, it's very easy. And
Hmm.
again, I'm
Yeah, but
only
you're
33.
33 with like the soul of a
I might cheat.
95-year-old. So,
Thank you, thank you. But I'm saying you never know in the future. Like I might
yeah.
cheat one day when I'm 50. I don't see myself doing it, right? Um, but I think to identify. So let's talk. I'll give you some tips because I know a lot of women like to hear this.
Hmm.
How to identify the man that is loyal, and I'll tell you some other things. Now, having a loyal man is not
Absolutely. Or
guaranteed,
loyal woman. Either way, a
100%.
loyal person. Yeah, but partner.
Yeah,
Hmm.
loyal woman. I'll give you some tips that is less likely
Hmm.
to cheat, is what I
Yeah.
always like to say, right? It's less likely. So, uh, um, first of
Hmm.
all, he's never cheated in the past. It's most likely. Now, like I said, if
Hmm.
you ask him, have you cheated in the past?
Yeah.
Most likely he won't say it. So maybe you as a woman,
Hmm.
if you want to do some
Oh, we're
detective
the
work,
FBI.
which I know,
Yeah.
which I know a lot of you like to do.
Yeah.
You can investigate a little bit about his past and see if he's done in the past. Um, Another thing is, how does this man, how did
Hmm.
he approach you when he met you? It's very important. Do you see that he was very, I want to say, aggressive? I want to say needy. Like he was
Hmm.
very chasing you, like texting you all the time. He was just like
Yes.
sending you, giving you, look,
Yeah.
love bombing you, giving you a bunch of gifts and trying to prove
Yeah.
that he's really into you. Because a mistake that you make is
Yes.
that you think,
Yeah.
well, I'm so special. And it feels nice, right? The gratification,
Hmm.
you feel like all this attention. But you have to understand that
Yeah.
that is what this man does with
Oh,
every
yes.
woman that he's attracted to,
It happened to
right?
me.
It's he just, you know.
Hmm.
So, and the same goes to men, right? Like, I
Hmm.
used to think the same thing about women. Now, you know, later as I got older, when I would see a woman like super
Hmm.
showing her interest for me, I would see like, wow, like it's too easy. I don't like it if it's too easy.
Oh,
Why
yeah.
why is she making it so easy for me, right? So yeah, so the way that he approaches you tells you a lot about how he
Hmm. Hmm.
behaves with other
Hmm.
women, right? And how he's been in the past. So if you see that he's takes it
Hmm.
slow, he's consistent, you won't see those
Yeah.
peaks that he's giving you this crazy attention, but you won't see the
Yes.
lows where he ignores you and ghosts you. You will just see that he's consistent with his
Yes.
attention, with getting to know you, right? I think that's an important key indicator to know that
Hmm.
this man shows consistency, and that's how he behaves usually with every single woman. And the last thing is
Hmm.
looking at his willpower, right? Is he
Hmm.
disciplined? Does he have a strong willpower with things
Hmm.
like do you see his
Hmm.
lifestyle? Does he have any
Hmm.
vices, right? Does he have any
Hmm.
vices with drugs,
Yeah.
alcohol, gambling, right? Because if a man is not disciplined, has a weak willpower, that means that that's the
Yes.
type of man that gives in
Hmm.
to temptation, right? A
Hmm.
man that you see that he's very strict with his schedule, he's very passionate about one
Hmm.
thing. This is also important, meaning that he's probably
Hmm.
failed at that one thing many times, but he still keeps
Hmm.
working on it and trying to get better. Not a man that is like changing jobs every 3 months. You know, he doesn't
Yeah.
have like personal goals in his life. He's just like navigating life through like finding new purposes every
Yes.
year, and like he doesn't know what he wants to build for himself. Right? Those are key indicators also that the same way that he treats his passion in his
Absolutely.
life is the same way that he's going to treat you.
Absolutely. I do agree with that. I do want to get to some questions here. Let's
Yeah,
see. Someone
let's see.
says, okay, let's answer Faith. I know Faith Ever Four. She's answered a few, but and guys, if you have questions, there's a little on the bottom. There's a little question mark box. Ask us there because we're seeing things scroll and it's going by so quick that we can't catch them, and because we're trying to also converse with you guys. But if you could just put that question in there, that's where we can get them, and it's good for us. How about
Actually, if you click the question
yeah, there are
mark,
some.
there are
Let's
some
answer
questions
Faith
there.
Ever Four.
I just saw.
Isn't it true that mention also
Okay.
because they have insecurities from past baggage? Yeah, I do think um, some of the circumstances that could happen
Mm-hmm.
is they do have insecurities. You know,
Mm-hmm.
everyone has insecurities. It depends on how we answer, I mean, how we handle them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's, you know, the husband could be a great husband and you think you're happy in that marriage and he's a great father and but then you know he's under pressure and that insecurity maybe takes over and like you said instant gratification because he's getting you know the winky eye from the woman in the office and it's easy for him and it makes him feel like
Yeah.
I am he woman, I mean
Mm-hmm.
he man, or the woman who feels that she's maybe her husband is out working so hard and she feels I'm being neglected at
Mm-hmm.
home. And some guy
Yeah.
winks at her at, I don't know, the local Starbucks. And all of a sudden they start talking, and all of a sudden, not necessarily maybe physical, but an emotional affair starts there. So I think definitely cheating
Yeah.
can stem from insecurity, to answer her question. Definitely. It's all in how you handle it,
Mm-hmm.
how they address it, your partner in a healthy way. I think it's something very important to know for those of us that have been cheated on. It never has anything. Yes, it takes two to tango in a relationship, but it has really to do with the person who's done the cheating.
Yeah, and I would say also,
Mm-hmm.
for example, with men, when it comes to insecurities, I see a lot of men actually. I think the highest percentage now in some surveys and stuff says a man in their 50s and 70s are the highest rate
Ismael,
that
oh
cheat
my
in.
God.
I think a lot of
What are women
Sorry to
like
say
me
that.
gonna do in our 40s? What do we look forward to?
Yeah.
You just killed us from
Well,
50 to 70.
40s, try to, yeah, 50s and 70s are the highest rate. But I do think a lot of men, and this is something that I advise to young men. It's like, brother, you need to get it out of your system. Go out there, date some women, get to know them. Because I feel a lot of men get married.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say they were insecure. They didn't have a lot of options when they were 20, in their 20s and early 30s, and then they end up getting married. And then, men have the advantage of being like wine, right? We get better with age. So now when they're 50, they have, they're more mature, they have that maturity, they have better finances. Now they start having all these options, let's say gold diggers or all this attention from young women that they never had when they were young. So because they were insecure and they didn't have many options, so now they go, they go crazy and they break families. They leave their families, the children and everything. So I do say also look at the man's past and see how much experience does he have. Do you think that he's settling, or do you think he really had a lot of options and he chose you because he thought
and I have a client now who we're trying to get him back into dating from being married for 20 something years, and his wife ended cheating on him. It was emotional cheating, which he said hurt more. He goes, I would have preferred, which was odd for me because usually men don't want it to be physical. But he said to me, what killed me was that it was an emotional attachment to this man. And so, we're trying to get him back. And her whole reasoning was he wasn't giving her enough attention.
Yeah, I mean, as a man, something that I know, me as a man, that I look for red flags in a woman. It's like the moment that I see that a woman loves attention, that's a major red flag for me, because she will never be satisfied with your attention. And, you will see how slowly the input and her engagement declines because she needs to seek validation outside of the relationship. And, that also has to do with the insecurities. And that happens a lot with women.
Oh, absolutely. So, absolutely. Yeah. Let's see.
Let me see the questions. How do you move on from an abusive and cheating relationship when you gave so much and still love them? Okay, well.
A lot of therapy, a lot of self-love. A lot of self-love.
And a really hard question to ask is, are cheaters bad people?
Yeah.
Right? Because, a lot of the times you have to forgive and let go, because if you start seeing them all the time from that resentment and pain. And I tell you this from my own experience, I grew up with a cheater. Like my dad is just the biggest womanizer ever. And you need to let go of that resentment and start understanding that, people have their flaws, and sometimes loyalty is not one of their strengths. So it's about forgiving, it's about letting go, and it's about, you make your choice, and now you try to focus on your self-love. Like we said, you try to have some sort of sense of accomplishment. Like set some goals for yourself. That's why I always tell everybody, go to the gym. Like a strong body gives you a strong mind, right? And there's a sense of, like, even if it's 30 minutes, like a day. People want to go for like 3 hours and do this whole thing. That's why it's so hard to stick to it. But even if you go for 30 minutes, go into the gym, the sense that you're accomplishing, you set your goals. I want to lose 10 pounds. I want this, that, right? The sense that every month you're accomplishing something at the gym gives you a lot of mental strength, and it helps you feel better about yourself. It's not so much, it's not only about the aesthetic aspect, which, which has its benefits. You like looking good, but it's also the mental strength of like being disciplined and going there every day, accomplishing something, so a lot of self-love, a lot of therapy, but a lot of forgiveness.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And just knowing also that it is not your fault. For those that have been cheated on, understand it is not your fault. Those are the issues of the person that has cheated, whatever their issues are, because being cheated on, you know, and from experience, it is one of the most heartbreaking. And you wonder, what did I do? What didn't I do? What could I have done wrong? What have done right? And you go back and forth, and it's just mentally exhausting. And so just know, for those of you out there that have been cheated on, it is not your fault. And those that have cheated, you know, unless that's the kind of life you want, I mean, really also you start, I would suggest, that self-love as well, and work. And why am I cheating in relationships? Why is this happening? Because there's something lacking within you and in that relationship. And instead of cheating, work on the relationship if it's worth it to you, and try to, you know, salvage it. I mean, relationships go up and down. It's never just the up, happy, beautiful little love bubble. And a lot of people think, you know, the you know, saying that everyone says, the grass is greener on the other side. Yeah, for a few months. And all the issues of whatever issues you have inside are going to come out again. So definitely, I feel you have to, you know, do that. I have a question for you. I know we're going a little bit over, so, and you guys, if you have questions, get it in, because but I don't want to take up so much. I know we say half an hour, but this I want to ask you. And what's your opinion as a man? Is flirting cheating? Man or woman flirting with the opposite sex.
I think,
is it, or, you know, could be same sex, whatever. Is flirting cheating?
well, I think when you flirting with the intent, I mean, again, like, what do you consider flirting? Because sometimes I'm a very polite man, and I treat women in a very cordial, and, you know, I actually feel love, intrinsically love, for a lot of the women that I help. And I speak to them, even like you said, even though I'm 33, I almost speak to a lot of these women. I see them almost as a sister or a daughter, you know, even if they're a little bit younger than me, my age. And a lot of the times, somebody from the outside might think that because they have that sense that I'm being flirtatious, let's say that I'm flirting with this woman, when I'm just being kind and polite, right? And it's because they're confusing a lot of men that use this as a mechanism to get under their pants, you know? So I think when you see a man flirting with the intention, he's just trying to get information from this woman. He's just trying to advance the conversation, right? You see that there's a conversation that was to go to a destination. Let's say, oh, let's continue the conversation about this or whatever. I think that type of flirting, you know, for sure, in my, you know, I consider it cheating. Now, some men, I swear to God, some men need that.
And some
and they might never cheat.
Push the little button of flirting to see if they can push it a little further. Yeah, and women too. So we're gonna say both, but, you know, usually it's the man doing that. Like, to me, like, and you see, it's like the little comments, people, it's like half and half. Yes, no, yes, no. Yes, it is. No, it's not. You know, to me, at least, you know, because I am, like you said, very outgoing, how you are, you know, and maybe someone confuses that with flirting, but there's a flirting of me going, oh, wow, look, you know, you look so good today, you know, and versus like, you know, flirting. It's always like where you're like, oh, you know, and touch the arm because you're interested. And so I think, you know, I think it's at what level is that flirting, maybe, and what boundaries.
Yeah, I think, and like I said, you as the partner of that person, if you tell them, listen, I don't feel comfortable with this, right? Then it is up to you to decide whether that's okay or not, right? I think when you flirt, real flirting is when you're trying to really advance a conversation and get an outcome out of it, right? When you see that there's no
Yes.
outcome driven purpose, then it's really not perfect. And like I said, some men
Mm-hmm.
are very charismatic, and they're just always the life of the party, and they have this type of
Yeah.
personality that can
Yes.
come across
Yes.
as if flirting all the time, but
Yes.
that's just who they
Mhm.
are.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and
Oh,
also women,
absolutely. It
by the
goes both
way.
ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have guy friends that I know super charismatic as to where you can tell
Mhm.
I know he's just being charismatic and that's his personality. Then I have another friend who I know he's flirting to see where he can advance to, So definitely, yeah.
And the last
Yeah.
thing I'm going to say is well, I mean,
Hmm.
we'll see if anybody has any other question, but what I always advise, what we
Hmm.
were kind of talking about in the beginning, is you never focus on will
Yeah.
my man or will my woman
Hmm.
cheat or not, right?
Yeah.
Will they leave? Will they break up with me? You focus on, if it happens, will I be able to
Absolutely.
handle it? Will I be able to navigate through that scenario? Will I be able to, overcome whatever, obstacle I'm confronted with through cheating,
Yeah.
let's say, or through breaking
And I
up with
think
me?
that's absolutely,
Because that's the
you
only
can only
thing that you
control
can
yourself. And I
control.
think, like what you said, you grew up with that. So you've already made that conscious decision. I am not going to cheat. Or I think of someone who has been cheated on, no, well, will they be able to tolerate it again if it happens to them?
Mm-hmm.
So, and like you said, it is difficult versus someone being cheated on when you're in your early 20s versus then all of a sudden when you've already built a long-term relationship and as to what you are
Mm-hmm.
willing to put up with and for how long and can you forgive you know I think everyone is different. I think we can't judge and everyone is different and in their own story and don't someone said their own shoes. Someone says don't borrow trouble is my motto. So I guess he's kind of saying like don't look for trouble. Like don't look for.
Yeah. And somebody is saying, uh, do you have advice? How can I have a little more trust? Like he says, that men don't
I
respect
think
her.
that's about her
Um,
personal boundaries and working on
and
herself. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And like I said, you never, like the same thing. You never trust that a man is not going to cheat on you. You trust that you'll
Absolutely.
be able to handle it if it
Yeah, and it's
happens.
about what you
But
allow, what you
if
are
you,
going to allow. And again, that is building your
Mhm.
self-love and your own boundaries. And I mean, that's a different other topic we can go into. But boundaries are really for yourself because the other person is not going to
Yeah,
say, "Oh, you have that boundary, let me uphold that boundary." It's your job to be like, "This is
yeah,
my boundary and it's not going to be crossed." Yeah, so I think that's
exactly.
important. I think there was one more here. Oh, well, Liz. We're gonna clap for Liz because my ex-husband cheated on me and living with the kids, best thing that ever happened to me. I'm so free and happy and finally now. And we are happy for you. And see, that's a good outcome. She probably really worked on herself to be in that position. So that's amazing. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great,
good for
Liz.
you,
You
Liz.
worked on yourself and you
Congrats.
realized your value and your worth. So well, this has been fun, my friend. I love doing these lives, especially with you. Like, you're one of my favorite people. So, um, yeah, thank
Thank
you. We'll
you. And
definitely do
likewise.
one in the new year about something else. I love doing this. Oh my God, I think we should do one of these like live in person. And we'll get most of my clients are men, most of your
I know.
clients are women. Let's try to get these two sexes together and be like, where are we in discord here?
Let's get a
Yes,
round
let's get
table. Let's
exactly.
get a
Let's
round
get a
table.
round table because you get the same. Mostly, I'm gonna say you get the same complaints for women that mostly I get the same complaints from men about women. So where's the discord? Maybe we think about doing something like that in the new year. But um, definitely, guys, for thank you for joining
Awesome.
us. Ismael, thank you
Thank you,
like always.
everybody, for joining.
Your wisdom
Thank you,
is
Karen.
always on point, amazing. Listen, you can be in your 30s, your soul is like, I don't know, from generations 95, and you're also a guy who's worked on himself, so it's wonderful. So thank you for joining.
Thank you, Karen. I appreciate it. And I had an amazing
Yes.
night talking to you. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And for sure,
Oh,
we'll
don't
do
even
another
skip
one in 2023.
2023.
Have an
Merry
amazing
Christmas, everyone.
Christmas. Have an amazing
Yes.
Christmas, holidays.
Thank you
And I'll
so.
see
Oh,
you
and wait,
soon,
wait,
all
wait.
right?
For my followers, where can they find you?
Save the messenger. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram.
Follow him,
You know,
guys, on all
TikTok,
the platforms.
everywhere.
Yeah,
Same,
definitely.
same for
Thank
my
you
followers. They
so
can
much.
find
All
you.
right, 2023, count on it.